Rolling. Charlie Mark. Demo Vampire's moving. Here we go, guys. Lots of energy. Ready and action.
When you read the novels that Cassandra Clare wrote, there's a sense of falling into this world of the Shadowhunters.
It's a thick book with lots and lots of amazing visuals and characters.
It's such a page turner, quite literally. I mean, you just don't put it down.
Once you start reading these, you just really can't stop. It's the beauty of Cassie's writing.
A friend of mine was showing me her tattoo designs. She had done this series of very beautiful tattoos based on runes, which are an old ancient language. Warriors had once worn them into battle because they believed that the runes would protect them. And I thought, what if there was a race of people for whom these tattoos really worked?
Clary, which rune is that?
I wanted to write an epic coming-of-age story, but with a girl, a heroine at its center, instead of a boy, which is the usual thing.
I was a fan of the books before I was cast. I feel like I've lived with Clary for longer than just being a character of a movie that I'm playing. It's really a girl that I've gotten to know through the books for a while.
Clary is a very powerful young lady. One of the character traits she has in the movie is that people keep telling her, don't do that, and then she does it.
Mom, I'm coming home.
No, you can't come home. You understand me? You don't come home.
Mom!
I think it resonates with the young adult age group because it's about a young woman finding herself and discovering who she really is.
The reason I think any book develops a big fan base is because the writer is able to portray to you how this person is feeling going throughout this magical world, and feels like you're going through that world.
I can't pull this off. Well, actually, with the right shoe.
No, I mean, this dress is so tight, it's like a second skin.
That's great. Okay. Very fun. Very sweet.
Most books are never made into movies. You know, it's a dream you have when you write a book. Maybe someday it'll be a movie, but you don't think it'll ever actually really happen.
My colleagues at Constantine and myself, from the beginning, we said this is going to be a fantastic movie. And if we do our jobs well, it could potentially become a big franchise.
It was very, very important for me to protect Cassandra's baby, and I have so much respect for the world she's created.
Just fake face a little more. When you make an adaptation from a very popular book like Cassandra's book, you have to make some real choices.
For one, I think the characters were aged up a little bit, and a lot of the light-themed adventure things that existed in the book, they wanted to darken. I think they wanted to make a realist, slightly more macabre adaptation of the book.
Whenever we had any questions, we would either just call Cassandra, the author, or we would just call the hundreds of thousands of fans out there, and they would tell you what they think.
We had to be very careful about not deviating too far from what the fans had envisioned already. Specifically the runes. The fans were already aware of what they meant. They have a specific language, and they were designed before our involvement.
Past that, you guys tattooed me?
It's not a tattoo. It's a rune. They have them for everything.
The next level would have been the props. The crystal swords and the spears and all of the weaponry that they had. For the City of Bones, it was based on the Parisian catacombs. We have a series of skulls that surround the circle room.
Some of the fans might miss a few things, but I think we've been able to preserve at least what was really important to me was the love story.
We were just kissing.
How swiftly you dismiss our love.
What Harold Swart brought to the table in spades is that he was falling in love with the characters.
Okay. Is she a little lean more forward? I think she's lean, and then she turns.
Talking to Harold the first time I met him in Los Angeles, he's incredibly direct. He just immediately launched into all these questions about the world, questions about his magic system, about its consistency, how it works. You know, it's very real to me, and so to be able to talk to somebody else whose job is also to make it real is really rewarding.
So I think you can go here, you look, maybe you can cross the gantries, or maybe something over here.
Harold Swart, I remember my first meeting with him, and I just was listening to him talk about emotion and characters.
Obviously, we have a lot of action, but he's also really into the characters and making them as real as possible.
When you read the books, you can imagine that a film adaptation would have a bunch of CGI and that it would rely solely on post-production to make it special, but that's not what this script is.
He wants to believe everything that he's seeing there, and he doesn't want it so fantastic that you suspend all belief. He wants you to have that element of this could actually be happening.
Yeah, I think the audience today knows when there's a slight little bit of green screen or there is some sense of unrealistic element to it. It's a good magic trick she pulls right here. When she goes boom in, it's almost like, oh my God, she did it. So we've been really working hard to make sure, like the pentagram, the cup in the book, all those things are real practical optical illusions. Pause.
Take it out! This is a big movie, like in terms of scale, and it feels like a smaller film. It's not 100 people behind the monitors barking.
Then while you're here, now Jay's fighting over here.
I feel like they gave Harold the keys, and I think that that makes a huge difference for the actors.
He stimulates us all with his energy. It's like contagious. And that's great, because he's helming this whole thing.
Cut. Thank you very much. Way too much fun to make movies. Okay, 1 second. Let's get into our serious mode. Here's supposed to be a spooky movie.
If there's something that we don't feel comfortable saying or we feel sticky, he's like, well, what do you want to say? And then we talk about it. He goes, okay, say that, try that. And you're like, really?
Yes, that's fine.
We all share qualities of the characters that we're playing. I do feel very, very connected to Kevin and Jemima. And we are like a pack, yeah. We are very protective over each other, I think. And that's a really nice feeling.
Well, for Claria, that's when you go for the stool.
Okay.
Yeah?
Okay.
The characters are, you just want to know more and more. You want to be friends with them, you want to hang out with them, you want to do what they're doing. I also love that it's urban, and it is not delicate or precious. It just goes for it.
There's a huge fan base for Cassandra's novels, and there's a lot of people excited to see this film.
It's addressing themes that young adults are particularly interested in because they are in the process of finding themselves.
There's websites dedicated to just some of the most fabulous quotes in the Mortal Instruments.
They're quite a loyal group of followers. I mean, it was the first time I've ever experienced fans hanging outside the set.
That was quite a jarring experience the first few times it happened. You know, we're signing Cassandra's book, and that feels very odd.
Mark. Ready, background, and action.
Writing is a very solitary process, especially in the beginning. You imagine this world inside your head, you imagine these characters, they come to life. You feel a little bit as if you're chronicling a story that already exists. To come to the set of a movie and to see it in 3 dimensions, to see the City of Bones, to see these characters with the runes on their bodies is such an incredible experience. It makes you feel as if you've had a dream and now you've traveled into that dream and it's become real.
I've been confined here for 18 years. And you'll be here for another 18 if I don't get that cup.
I've fallen even more in love with Clary and with the story, and I think that where this journey could go could really be epic.
And cut.
Cassandra Clare created this universe, and there's a very complex cast of characters.
It's a movie where you can get carried away in the special effects and the fantasy of it. So it was really important for me to have really great actors.
This is about more than us.
I think we're just really lucky to have a cast that is getting along so well and for each of them to be so interested in their character.
And action! Lily Collins really grounds the movie and makes it believable.
There's something about the way she reacts, the way she emotes, the way she listens in the film. You know, there's just a complete presence there.
Clary Frey is a very strong-minded and strong-willed young woman. As any young teenager would, finding out you're not really who you thought you were. She goes through kind of identity crises and in search of her mom, who was actually someone called a shadow hunter.
Jocelyn's kind of run away from her own past, which got a bit dark, and she only wanted to use her powers for good.
Jocelyn kept this world of shadow hunters from Clary because she wanted to protect her.
And so they have the mother-daughter relationship. It's quite tense. And of course, Jocelyn has her own reasons, giant reasons, that she is overprotective.
You tell Valentine he'll never have the cup.
It's really a story about self-discovery and empowerment and learning to define herself through her relationships with other people.
Jace Wayland, Demon Hunter.
Simon Lewis, keymaster. Are you the gatekeeper?
Simon Lewis is kind of like that best friend that you joke around with that finishes your sentences. He's a hilarious character.
Downworlders? What is that, like people below 14th Street? There's a lovely sense of adventure about this script. The character of Simon is the only normal guy in the whole story. He's the only sense of perspective against this entire magical world. There has to be a level of normality somewhere in the middle of it. And I think Simon and Clary provide that quite nicely.
We just had like a really great chemistry from the get-go, and it's great to have that relationship be so polar opposite than her and Jace. You just love seeing the two guys going at it because they're so different.
You invited him to bed?
I know, it's ridiculous, isn't it? We would never have all fit. I do think that there's not enough rude characters anymore. Downgraded from a gingerbread house to a one-bedroom. Jace is very witty and he's sarcastic and snide. Don't worry, it wasn't that special for me either. He can use humor to deflect a situation when something becomes hurtful to him.
Jace,
Don't tell me. You have a drawing emergency and you need a nude model.
The second that Jamie came in for the audition, it was like, that was it. He is so witty and he's so physical, doing all of his own stunts. And that was what Jamie brought to the table.
Jace interested me as a character because I love his vulnerability. He gives off this facade of being very strong, when in fact, actually, he's quite a weak little boy. He shows this vulnerable side to one person and he feels that his trust is betrayed.
What is it about her?
She's brave.
We're shadow hunters. We're all brave.
She wasn't raised like us, she's different.
It's gonna get us all killed.
Kevin is great. He has that slight, elegant standoffishness that Alec has.
Alec is a killer. He's so diametrically different from everyone else. He's kind of an outcast. He does sort of have a secret. I responded to him because there's always something interesting about playing a guy who people can't really put their finger on. I like being able to be this sort of wild card in a situation.
That guy Alec doesn't like me very much. That guy Alec is my brother.
Isabel is such a family person and she has strong values. No one can come in the way of her family.
She goes from subtle to so intense in the span of a second. I don't know how she does it.
Well, I step into very high heels, so I'm very tall. And then it's all this black leather. There's something very powerful about it. So that really helps to get into character and feel quite fierce.
Aiden, who plays Luke, is such a warm and wonderful person. When I first met him, I thought, boy, if I was Clary, that's exactly the kind of father figure that I would like to have.
He seems like a relatively normal, nice guy, you know? He's a morally good guy in my book. So starting from a place of truth and honesty and just interacting with the characters in that realm, I think, is the most important thing.
We are not safe out here.
I don't think I needed to ever sort of drive home the fact that he's this supernatural character. I find it more interesting when actors just play them as real people and have it as an affliction more so than a defining characteristic. Until, of course, you're standing here and then you have the werewolf contact lenses in and you're covered in sweat and blood, then you kind of look at yourself in the mirror and go, of course I'm a werewolf, what else could it be at this stage?
Magnus Bane is the High Warlock of Brooklyn. Warlocks live forever. They can be any age they want to be. I was like, why not make him a crazy raver kid? He wears outrageous clothes. He wears glitter. He has wild parties. Doesn't mean he's not incredibly smart and extremely dangerous. He's really enjoying being a powerful magician.
Magnus Bane is a sexy guy. Men and women are both drawn to him. He's lived for centuries. He's been through a lot of life-changing environments. So he's just out there enjoying himself.
I'll let you stay, but only because of the hot one.
Thanks.
What?
I told Jared Harris, this is so awesome to see you work because you are Hodge. He constantly surprises you.
Try not to judge me too harshly, Clary.
There's an interest to play a character who you don't know which side they're on. Hodge, he has moral ambiguity to him. The audience gets a feeling of, can you trust this guy or can't you trust him? He's a good guy doing the wrong thing.
The broken make the best followers.
The interesting thing about Jonathan Rhys-Meyers as Valentine is his charisma. His danger lies in his charm.
I came back to help you understand who you really are.
Every movie has its own excitement, has its own appeal. This one, the appeal was that I get to play a character who brings a very, very dangerous element to a film.
Valentine's an interesting villain because he's extremely elegant. He seems extremely reasonable.
Valentine is existing in a modern world, but he's an ancient warrior. His heart only knows war. For the last 15, 20 minutes, once Valentine enters, it heightens everyone's fear of what's going to happen.
The characters. You've got to love the characters and know them and feel like you've gone through the ringer with them. And that's what we've been trying to achieve. And I think we've done some lovely stuff.
I'm really proud of everyone. I think this cast was put together the way it was supposed to be.
Marker.
Action. It's a portal, like the Bermuda Triangle. The Institute is built around it. What drew me to the script in the first place is the story. It was a classic love story.
Everything about it was so memorable and epic. Everyone's put their heart and soul into this project.
You could not ask for a better casting. It's been amazing to see the casting take place. I remember Lily being cast first, and I was just delighted because I thought she just jumped out at me as looking exactly like Clary did in my head.
I think the fans also were freaking out when they heard that Lily Collins was playing her. She fits the bill to a T.
Let's go in here. I want to ask what that symbol means.
You're dealing with a character that is beloved by millions of fans, and they have a certain vision, and then we need a terrific actor who can embody this character.
Lily Collins was on board already when I came on board. That's one of the reasons I wanted to do the project. She's incredibly talented. I think she shows a great range, and she makes my job very easy.
Oh, come on, Clary. You must have guessed.
The casting of Jace, Jamie's name came up early on because whenever I saw him on film, there was just this kind of otherworldly quality that he had.
He kind of has an angelic quality to his face, and he has a lean but strong figure, so physically he's perfect. He's such a talented actor. He had such a grasp on the character.
Demons can take possession of any living creature. You can't trust anyone.
So why should I trust you?
I did just save your life. I think Jace is drawn to Clary because he sees a strength in her that he's never seen in anybody else but himself, probably. And plus, she's smoking hot. You know, the combination of the two, he's kind of destined to fall in love with her. Unfortunately, my one true love remains myself.
Well, at least you don't have to worry about rejection.
It's a very sharp switch to her when she enters the Institute, and Isabel gives her those first pieces of clothing. Those, you know, do represent the change right there. This was Lily's outfit that she wears. I think it's a great dress, and it turned out really cool, and it has some great features.
I think you look great.
She's not unafraid, but she's not cowering either. So she's a great heroine.
I know where my mom hid the cup.
Jace, very intimidating at the beginning and very sarcastic and standoffish, who then has moments where he is incredibly vulnerable with her.
He's sexy and smart, and he's arrogant, but he has his arrogance with a great sense of humor.
Shouldn't we call the cops?
That's a great idea. I just don't know why we haven't thought of that for the past 1,000 years. Jace is very impulsive. I don't think he's ever done anything quite as bizarre as this before, i.e. bring a mundane or two mundanes into the Institute.
Simon immediately identifies Clary fancies Jace, and Jace clearly fancies Clary, and there's chemistry going on between them.
There's definitely a love triangle. Simon has always had this crush on Clary, and she's just completely blindsided by it. And Jace and her obviously have this connection.
Thank you.
Clary is the first person that really does become important to Jace.
You and I have a birthday to celebrate.
How did you know?
Come on.
What was really important to me was the love story. And the greenhouse scene is the most romantic and maybe one of the more iconic scenes from the book. And we just didn't want to hold back on anything in that scene.
And it's the first time you get to see Jace and Clary really succumb to any emotion for each other. I mean, you get to see Jace be vulnerable. You get to see Clary finally be a bit of a girl, you know, really be that kind of teenage insecure girl.
And that's shown, his vulnerability is shown to Clary. And it's betrayed somewhat, and he holds himself back up again. Don't worry, it wasn't that special for me either.
Obviously, the characters that you meet in this first one do continue on, so it's important to know how our relationships change and how they grow.
I think we're just really lucky to have a cast to be so dedicated to and interested in their character.
It's a really romantic story, and so I'm very happy to have really great actors in all the roles.
Cut. Check the gate. Beautiful.
Shadowhunters, I've always imagined them as these incredible warriors. Their movements are balletic and beautiful, and so I really do actually want to see that come to life.
Jace, in particular, gets described in the books, and the same is for Isabel and for Alec, who are these kind of top-notch Shadowhunters.
I had this image of who I believe Jace's fighting style to be. He's wily and he's crazy and he has this bizarre look in his eyes.
For Isabel, Shadowhunter fight is extremely fluid, it's very modern, very contemporary, and it has this kind of frenetic attitude.
Well, I mean, Alec is a killer, so I wanted to be able to create a fighting style that represents sort of who he is, but it's really kind of ferocious. He's an overkiller, and I like that about him.
We have a fantastic stunt choreographer, Jean Frenette, who's come up with his own interpretation of Shadowhunter fighting.
The thing I like about Jean, too, is like he created our own fighting style, and it says a lot about your character.
Harold especially wanted to be able to use the actors in as many sequences as possible.
I've been really trying to make most of the things happen in camera on the set, so I've been focusing a lot on that with the rehearsals with the actors.
I come up with different type of ideas. We shoot some previs ahead of time because it's easier to come up with some ideas when you show it visually, so it's easy for us to come up and design different action sequences. You come up to create a style for the project, and it's always according to the director's vision.
The actor training was extensive because there's a great deal of physical activity that they have to be trained for.
Jamie in particular is amazing at fighting.
You have to be strong in order to do the stunts, in order to have the stamina to be able to shoot 17-hour days and slide across the hood of a car at 4 o'clock in the morning. I started off with doing Krav Maga. It was all about center of gravity and making sure that I was very steady on my feet. And so when it came to sort of learning how to do the coordination or whatever with Jean Frenette, our stunt coordinator, I was ready for that.
A lot of heavy work on fight training, fighting empty hand with knives, 2 hands, 1 hand. Very fancy, very acrobatic in a way. So we got Jace to do a lot of really interesting stuff.
Well, I trained with a trainer back in LA for 3 months prior to the film, and then Jean Frenette and his stunt team prepped us doing all sorts of acrobatics. I started knife fighting and sword fighting and being thrown on the ground and doing punch reactions and just like really fun stuff that I never thought that I'd really be getting into. It's fun working on wire.
Me and Lydia working together for 5-6 months, trained her, and she's awesome.
I'm training every day, so we're mixing 2 styles, samurai sword and 17th century epee. Then for my hand-to-hand combat, we're using panko kalat. It's about using the other person's body strength against them. Within the action sequences, everything is almost elegant up until the last moment where it's danger.
Alec has these amazing weapons that are metal and wood that he uses to punch. Jamie has these incredible swords. Isabel has a whip, which is a snake bracelet that looks beautiful, and then all of a sudden she snaps it and kills vampires, which is awesome.
If you're gonna do weapons in the CG world, we will still train with the weapon so you understand the weight of it.
The first few days, I was basically with the stunts coordinator trying the whip out and cracking the whip. It's a scary weapon.
There's a big climactic fight between Jace and Valentine, which it's a big choreography, looking at over 150 moves. It's very satisfying as a coordinator, seeing the result of all these hours of training and the dedication from our actors to train and get ready for it.
It's great to know that everything will be taken care of because of your team, and you know that you're going to be in good hands. So it's been really fun.
Cool. Let's do it.
There's too many of them.
Have a little faith.
Well, the Shadowhunters have an interesting mandate. It's to protect the world from supernatural creatures. In the books, there are 4 kinds. There are warlocks, who are half human and half demon and can perform magic. There are vampires, as we know them to be, blood drinkers. And werewolves, who turn into wolves at the full moon.
There's a huge fan base, obviously, so they've already imagined all these creatures in their heads. So it was very important for me to keep it grounded in this world and have people be able to have elements they recognize. The werewolves in this movie, we've broken them down into 2 versions. There's a werewolf, and then a wolf man.
I like the way either Luke is almost fully transformed or he's just on the brink of transformation.
So what we've done for those is to create contact lenses and hair pieces and really nice dentures and really cool kind of clawed fingertips.
CCH Pounder had fun playing a character that is literally being taken over by a demon.
Sometimes you can hide yourself behind the CG and you go, well, let's just make it green screen or this and that. But I didn't really want it to turn into a complete computer-generated creature. To me, it was more scary that it was always the actress demonized.
So we gave her a very simple makeup. Split the skin, give her some cool contact lenses, but essentially it's still her. And of course, on top of that, we've added some other appendages which will wreak havoc in the scene.
This is the theatrical situation that I grew up in, so it's wonderful to be, in a sense, back in the theater, where you have to create the character there.
Let's have a look.
I don't make people look better, I make them look worse.
The challenge that I saw to getting the creatures made is to make them new and inventive, like the Ravener.
I'm really obsessing with the look of everything. So I thought the approach of a possessed dog that just exploded apart was a really scary but still a realistic idea.
Because it's somehow based in reality, that we did use a lot of references of actual microscopic worms and sea creatures to design it. But it's more terrifying because of that, because it's almost recognizable.
This is actually a sculpt done by another artist here. This is the internal tentacle of claws and mouths that comes out.
I think the work I'm most proud of on this is the work we did on Brother Jeremiah. Luckily, we had a great actor named Stephen Hart who came in. So using his face as a canvas, I was able to kind of embellish certain aspects and take away certain aspects. We didn't want to make him look gross because he is a good guy, but we also wanted to make him interesting. Something kind of grotesque, but you don't want to look away at the same time. It's covering his entire face with a very thin skin of prosthetic, so I can accentuate his bone structure, but also give him this kind of the scarring. And then I created a whole new set of lips for him that sits on top of his own lips, so I could have the twine binding up his lips, and it would actually make it look really fleshy and kind of meaty. Our makeup creates everything up to the eyes, and then the CG department, Mr. X, are gonna remove the eye sockets for me. It's a pretty incredible look.
Final demons that have transitioned out of ravens. They're quite interesting looking, and Paul Jones has done a fantastic job with that. We're going to wind up probably doing a lot of CG work with those, but his designs for it are what everything is based on.
The illustrations and stuff that we saw in pre-production, it is creepy. They're weird looking and unoriginal too. I mean, they have that claw thing going on and can't really see their eyes, which is a bit freaky too. I mean, they're scary characters.
Okay, this is good. It was important for me to make an artistic interpretation of a horror movie. So I searched for key people who all themselves come from different places, and you put them into something like this, it does become something really special. Our team at Mr. X creating all of these CG demons based on very much collaborative cooperation between Harold and the makeup department, the prosthetics department.
It's definitely Harold and Robert and Don and everybody involved in the production of the film. It's their baby, so I'm here to bring what they want to life, but give it my own spin.
I'd like to blame it all on life. Maybe we just weren't right, but that's a lie. That's a lie. as much as we want, but in time our feelings will show. 'Cause sooner or later we'll wonder why we gave up. The truth is everyone knows. Almost is never enough. So close to being in love. If I would have known that you wanted me the way I wanted you, then maybe we wouldn't be 2 worlds apart. But right here in each other's arms, and we almost knew what love was. But almost is never enough.
If I could change the world overnight, there'd be no such thing as goodbye. You'll be standing right where you were, and we get the chance we deserve. Oh, try to deny it as much as you want, but in time my feelings will show. 'Cause sooner or later we'll wonder why we gave up. Truth is everyone knows. Almost is never enough. It's never enough, babe. We were close to being in love. If I would have known that you wanted me the way I wanted you, then maybe we wouldn't be 2 worlds apart. But right here in each other's arms, and we almost knew what love was. But almost is never enough.
You know, I was thinking of getting a tattoo. I don't know if you've noticed, but those girls over there are staring at you.
Of course they are. I'm stunningly attractive.
So, how many demons are there?
More than stars in the sky.
So you see this is like a long-term project?
It gives us something to do at night.
What, no demons during the day?
Direct sunlight hurts them unless they take human form. You can touch it.
Easy now, we've just met. You're so cool. Hey, Jace, could I learn that? I mean, am I capable?
Which one is he?
Can't see him. Wait.
What? that better?
Yeah, that's better.
You okay?
Yeah. Yeah, it was crazy. I'm sorry I didn't believe you before. Now I get it. I know this sounds kind of weird, but after I drank that thing, I swear, I thought I was an animal. And nothing cool like a dragon or a tiger, but a damn rat. And then I must have passed out. And you showed up. You came back for me. You could have gotten killed, but you came back for me.
Simon, you would have done the same.
You stole the Mortal Cup. You killed Downworlders. You don't obey the law.
You think our laws are perfect? Just yesterday, you were killing vampires, and they nearly killed you.
It's what we do.
We kill demons! And you do it because you're good at it. You're good at it. Because after you thought I died, you were cut free. No consequences, no one to grieve. You're better than all of them. Jonathan Morgenstern.
My name is Jace Wayland.
But she didn't realize that there were others who'd been experimenting on all that time. Until one day she put it all together. As soon as you were old enough, she ran away, and I helped her. I went to see her, but Valentine had other plans for me. It was a setup, an ambush. I barely survived.